The Nigerian Bar Association in Abia State has asked the federal government to withdraw Operation Python Dance from the southeast. The state chairman, Nnamdi Eluwa, insists there is no security challenge to lives and property in the region. According to him, and I quote, "We are calling on the federal government to redeploy the soldiers. There is no security threat here to warrant Operation Python Dance. They should take the army to the northeast where Boko Haram is unleashing terror on the people." End of quote. And in Rivers State, some members of the indigenous people of Biafra arrested during the recent clash between IPOB members and some residents of Oyibo local government area are being arraigned in court. The suspects, which the Commissioner of Police, Zaki Ahmed, puts at about 32, were picked up for allegedly breaching peace, destroying properties, and killing a police sergeant during the crisis. There is heavy security presence at the court, and movement into the premises in that area is restricted. From legal to education now. Universal basic education was introduced in September 1999 to provide free primary and secondary education for every Nigerian child from 3 to 15 years. The program, which was created after several unsuccessful attempts at improving education in the country, effectively took off with the signing of the UBE Act in April 2004. Even though there's been some improvement in enrollment in recent times, the results have been limited, and Nigeria's educational system still rates poorly in most international rankings. Joining me in the studio to discuss this topic is Professor Aloy Ejeogu. He's the former Dean of the Faculty of Education from the University of Lagos. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us on the program. Now, who regulates basic education in Nigeria?
Who?
Yes, who?
I think basic education looks like a child of dubious parentage.
Why do you say that?
In 1999, when President Obasanjo inaugurated the universal basic education in Sokoto, soon after, in 2000, he submitted a bill to the National Assembly. The National Assembly was about passing the bill when state governments, local governments protested. They ought to be consulted, they ought to be involved, and the bill was withdrawn. When the bill was resubmitted, there was another challenge in court, and it was the Supreme Court that in 2003, January, now gave it legal backing, emphasizing that the universal basic education, or rather the primary education funding, management, and what have you, is the prerogative of local governments. So you have local governments, you have state government, you have federal government, every one of them meddling with the universal basic education.
So the foundation, you say, was faulty from the start?
Very wobbling foundation.
But has it been able to achieve something at least?
In the Nigerian context and by Nigerian standard, yes, it has achieved something. But seriously speaking, I do not think it has achieved much that will make anybody clap or, shout hallelujah. The road is very long, very tortuous, because we do not seem to be getting it right.
In terms of finance?
In terms of finance, in terms of everything. In fact, the universal basic education is a system in which there is shortage of everything except pupils.
So how can this work? What do you think the government can do to right these wrongs?
I do think it's much more than having conferences and so on. We have to go to the legal system. The Nigerian Constitution gives the local governments the power to own, manage primary education. But universal basic education has another segment onto it, the junior secondary. So you begin to wonder who really should be in charge, who should take responsibility. The local governments will take care of the primary. How about the junior secondary segment of the universal basic education? So it's something that has to be reworked. As of now, what federal government is doing is mere intervention, trying to help. But in trying to intervene, trying to help, they seem now to be carrying the entire burden.
Which appears to be too much.
Which appears to be too much. And yet we keep on, the same federal government keeps on establishing universities, establishing polytechnics, opening up more secondary schools, trying political institutions here and there. The entire Nigerian educational system needs a complete overhaul. I do remember when I called on the federal government, I even wrote to the Minister of Education, then not the present one, that we should declare a state of emergency in the Nigerian educational system. We have never gotten it right. And until we sit back and ask ourselves, what system of education do we want to have? We never get it right.
So what things you think all stakeholders involved should look at and add to make it compete globally?
Like I said, there seems to be everything wrong about everything.
Well, let's just start talking about how to make the wrongs right.
My suggestion is, number one, let's declare a state of emergency. Let's go back to the roots and I'm not talking about restructuring.
Okay.
And reorganize our educational system. In Finland, for example, what we call the 6334 system is working perfectly in Finland. Everybody knows where he or she is going. But here we're talking about basic education. Where are the products of this basic education when everybody wants to go to the university? So it said 6334 system, after the first 9 years of compulsory basic education, a child should be well enough to take care of himself or herself and can do X, Y, Z. Everybody wants to go to the university. Just one line, one track. Everybody wants to go to the university. Whereas the intent of the universal basic education is that after the 9 years, after the junior secondary, now people will have to. Some will go into academics, some will go into vocational, engineering, technical, and rest of them. But not so in Nigeria. Everybody wants to be called a graduate. In Finland, like I was saying, you can take the vocational, technical, scientific aspect and still get a PhD up there. Or if you want to go to the humanities, the arts, the basic education, the grammar type of people, you could still go on and achieve your ambition. But here, the orientation is so bad that everybody wants to go to the university. Not because of our overemphasis on certificates, paper qualification. That is not the reason for the universal basic education. How many products of this universal basic education system can write one complete sentence, either in his or her mother tongue or in English or in any language for that matter? What do they do? What type of teachers do we have there?
And that's what I was about to come to, the quality of teachers.
Yeah.
It appears to be falling out.
How are we going to get the teachers when nobody wants to be a teacher? I'm a teacher. I'm proud to be a teacher. I chose to be a teacher. I went to secondary school. I had A1, 7 subjects, A1. I chose to be a teacher. I studied English, education, master's, PhD, MSc, just name them. I'm still a teacher. I'm going to retire as a teacher. But how many people out there want to be teachers? How many of them? Let us go back and see how we can encourage people to choose teaching career. Best brains. Let me go to Finland again. I'm sorry. You cannot teach in Finland if you don't make a first class in the university system. And in Finland, teachers are the best paid workers. They are better paid than doctors, than lawyers, than everybody else. So if you are jealous of teachers, go and become one.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Ejeogu, for speaking with us on the program. Interesting perspective you just shared with us.